Hey guys, it's Brian. I wanted to show you how I edit a property video from start to finish. And I say start, but I already have done a little bit of work, and I kind of want to go through that with you real quick. So what I do when I first create a new project I use Adobe Premiere, I use Adobe products, is I first set up my project here. And so depending on what happens or what kind of footage I have depends on what different folders I have. But here I shot a gorgeous property up in San Elijo, and so I did video for it. I call it my stuff folder. That's where I have my intros and my lower thirds and that sort of thing. I have my community footage. Because I did a lot of different community footage here, I made its own folder. The intro is where I'll have obviously the agent's intro, and then my sequences. So in my sequences I have drone, intro, Tucana. That's going to be the entire video where I lay everything out on, and then Osmo. The Osmo is my little walkthrough. So I like to have the Osmo there so I can cut it up and place it where I need to. So this video is probably going to be 20-30 minutes, at least I hope, to get it done in that. But yeah, this is going to be a whole walkthrough. If you're interested in how I do it, this will be a great example. So first what I wanted to do is I shoot everything in 1080p at 60 frames a second, and then I edit at 720p at 30 frames a second. So that gives me the ability to slow down if I want to, zoom in if I want to. But what that means is right away when I import something, it's going to be more zoomed in than I want. So I go to my effect controls, motion, 66.7 will give me the full screen. If I go any lower than that, you'll see I get the black bars. Any higher than that, I get zoomed in. So 66.7 is my starting point. And so usually what I'll do, like for here, I know the shots I did. I knew I did a fly out shot. So I want to find the start and end of that. And there we go, there I'm all the way out. So it starts right about here, and I'll just cut it at the beginning and cut it at right about the end here, and then I'll bring this up. To me personally, this tells me when I'm up here, okay, when I come back to it later, that's a clip that I want to use. I also did a shot where I went around the back. Here I am finding my spot. There it is, and I went out and back. So the first shot will be the intro. This will be going into the community. And so right about there's good. And I'll probably trim this more later, but this is just kind of what my basic setup. So there's that, and I might do. Let me see if I have another shot of this. Hold on one second. So I may do this shot coming down here too. So I'll find it, zoom. That's a maybe shot. So now that I have my drone, I'll bring in the Osmo. So I have that in my video folder, and here's my video folder here. I'm going to pull it off to the side just so I can work with it better. I can only record one screen, but I'm going to bring it over to the side so I can pull my clips that I want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my Osmo in here. So I have my Osmo. Again, this is because I'm shooting at 1080p at 60 frames a second, and I'm editing in a 720 at 30 frames. It's going to ask me if I want this. I want to keep existing settings, so I keep the right side or the right size. And goodness gracious, I have to pull it back. Again, I'm going to do motion 66.7. So now I have that full size, and I'll just delete this audio because I know what it sounds. I'm never going to use the audio. Not never, but I don't hear. So here. So I'll do the same thing here. Typically, is I'll cut it, and this will be my walk-in shot, right to about there. And then I'll go to Tucana. So I like to do an intro using the drone before anything. I bring the drone in there, and I like to flip it around so it goes from wide to in. So speed, duration, reverse speed. So now it's going to go from all the way out, zoom all the way in. Boom. And I may speed this up, but I just kind of want to get it down on paper here, or in the timeline. So it's going to have that, then it's going to be the agent intro, and then I'm going to do the Osmo, this part here. And what I like to do is I like to put it all out first, then I'll kind of trim it and color correct at the end, but just so I can get my basic flow in. So there's that. Now I want to look on my video feed here and see, okay, as soon as I walk in, actually I forgot I had one of these shots. I like this shot. So let's do that. Let's see here, 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm going to run through this real quick. Again, this is at 100%, so I want 66.7. It's going to give me the full screen. And what I'll do is I'll actually copy where it says motion here. I'll do control copy, and that way I can just paste it in each file or in each item, so I don't have to keep going through that process over and over again. So here I did a slow slide. I'll probably want to speed that up, but we'll start with that. Go into the Osmo, slide, zoom, walk in. Now I'm looking at my audio, and with these video files, if you kind of scroll over here, they will they'll show you the preview. So I'm going to place these real quick, and again I'm just going to go over this, select it, Control V, and it's going to paste it in. Apparently I didn't like this angle, so Control V, and now it's that full screen. And see, here I have a little bit vignetting, so this gives me the ability to, if I wanted to, and I do because I don't want that vignetting, to zoom in a little bit there. So I'll find that spot, zoom, zoom, and again, when I put this to music, I'll kind of sync it better, and I'll work on color correcting, but just for now, this is fine. I like to use the Osmo as my way to transition from one room to the other. So I'll actually do this. It also is a great if I miss a spot. So I go that. Oh, switch these. And this is just this I'm just cutting it up, so it's probably not going to be super exciting. So if you want to skip towards the end, I'll put a list in there, or a notification in the text here of where I pick up to the next point if you want to skip to that. But so now I'm just piecing it together. So I have that. Then I go to the Osmo again. Here I walked. So if I can do this clip here. Oops. And to switch, I'm just doing C and V. C for the cut, V for the paste, or back to the pointer, so I can move it over. So there. Oops. Grab the wrong one. There's that. Now I want to find the shot. And so the Osmo is great for transition, but it doesn't have the color that I mean, you can tell the difference in color there versus there. So I like to use the Osmo sparingly, but it does add another cool level that the slider doesn't. So slider, and I won't do the Osmo between every shot, just when I feel it's necessary to really show the flow. So you can also drag and drop it over there. cutting it. There. Now I go to the kitchen. I have a double oven shot here. Again, I'm zoomed in too much. If you just click where it says motion, you can hold shift and bring it down here. That's going to give you some cool stuff, or give you some flexibility. Blammo. And I always like to cut it a little after I start and a little before I end, so that gives me room if I want to do a dissolve at the end. It won't give me a choppy dissolve. So there's that. Now I go into the kitchen. Let's do a couple more kitchen shots. Kitchen. Let's do another kitchen. I think I have one from here. And I like to try and switch it up to where I don't go always right to left, even though I film usually left to right. If I see that, and I'll see that towards the end, if I'm always going from left to right or always going from right to left, I like to switch that up in the editing and switch it. So I can show you how I do that, but I'll do that a little bit later when I see if that's what's happening. So see here, I don't want it all the way out 66.7. I want to be zoomed in fairly tight. So see the stove, it's pretty cool, and this also gives me the flexibility to, you know, go up and down a little bit if I want to. So here I can see a little bit of the cabinet still. So see how I go from right to left. I like to kind of switch it up a little bit. So that looks like it's going to be a little fast, so I might slow it down later. Go back to the Osmo. From here I transition into the living room, so I like that shot a lot. The owner walked by right there, so I have to be careful of that, to not include that. So there, walk through. Again, I'm going to have to color correct that, bring it up, but I can do that in a little bit. Delete the audio. Zoom it out. Usually I'll do a couple slides per clip, and typically I'll do it the slides until I get a good slide. So what I like to do is I like to look at the last part of the clip rather than the first part. Usually that's where I get the best clip from. So there, and I like to keep these pretty short, so we're already at 1.5 minutes and we haven't done much. So let's see if I can put this together pretty quickly. So let's see. And look at the color difference there. I'm going to have to do some crazy correction here. I might just end up nixing one of them because this is getting way yellow. I use the Osmo as a walkthrough. Usually this is the process I'll go, but I'll probably do the going out there at the end. So here, again, walking through to see where we're at, and I'll speed this up, I'm sure, because you don't need to see me walking, but it gives a feeling for where you are, where you're going next. Here's the washing machine. Again, 66.7 is the magic number to get from 1080 to 720. Sometimes it matters going that way, sometimes it doesn't. So I just cut the piece I like. It's that one right there at the end. Zoom, and I'll just do the bedrooms here. One thing that I really like is if you right click, you can hit ripple delete and it'll bring everything to the right of that, bring it in close. So that's a tool I use a lot. Little trick for you there if you don't use it. So boom, boom. I like to use the doorways as showing entryways into the area. I think this one had a bedroom or bathroom attached to it. There's a bathroom right there. I think this one had a bathroom to the right. So, yeah, it looks like it did. You see Derek there. He wanted some fame, so I made sure to point him out. That one's going to be a tough one. You see my head pops up right there? So what I'll probably do is cut this and I'll zoom in a little bit. So I'll go to where I'm in the way. And I'll make sure I'm out of it. And we're good. So we're going to do that. There's a small little bathroom across the hall as well. I like to split it up so I don't see bathroom, bathroom, bathroom. So what I'll probably do is I'll put the other bathroom right here. Little guest bath here. In terms of gear, what I'm using, obviously I said I'm using the Osmo, the Phantom 3 for my drone. For my video, I use the Sony A7S, and a Canova slider. So I have that. Now I want to go upstairs. So I try some different things with stairs. I just want a small clip that shows I'm going upstairs, just so we get the vibe that, okay, this is a different spot. Probably slow that down and do some dissolves in it, but that's fine. So there's that. Now I'm upstairs. I have a bathroom, and again, sometimes if I forget where I was, I'll use the Osmo to show the next spot. So now I find the bathroom, and you don't have to go this. You don't have to follow the same walkthrough as the Osmo always, but I think it's an easy way to go. Okay, how would I walk through this house? Well, I look exactly how I did walk through the house. And so that typically helps me. So bathroom, then there's an office, and then what's after the office? 2 bedrooms. So where's my I'm looking at my other screen for the office. Here it is. Again, if I copy this motion section, I'll be able to copy it here, and it zooms it out as well. So I like using walls to reveal. Again, I'll trim it down, but I just wanted to give a little bit more room on each end. So there's the office. I need to find, here's one bedroom and here's the other bedroom. I just pasted the motion in so that way they're zoomed out a little bit. Triple delete, triple delete, office, bedroom. Okay, got that. Now I'll take the Osmo, and these are the bedrooms. I'll do this little walk. So I like to try and do something like this where you can see, okay, that's where the bedroom is. Now he's going to walk this way. Okay. And I'll probably cut right in there. So I'll dissolve that there. So now I need the master. Alright, I'm trying to go as quick as I can, guys. I'm going to need some color adjustment on that. Master bedroom. I use Lumetri color. I like it a lot. That's okay, that's looking better. It was pretty hard. The light was coming straight in, but that looks a lot better. Whew. From there, we have the bathroom. And let's get a shot of the bathroom. Showing the shower, the mirrors. It's hard to do bathroom mirrors when you can't be in it. You got to be a little bit creative sometimes. Again, I want to pull up the shadows and all the exposure, but we'll get to that later. So there's that, and I think that covers all of the inside. Now I like to get out, I like to go out the back door or out a patio to kind of give that transition out. Oh, cool. There's that. And then for that, I'll take the other drone shot where I have here. And this will transition me into my community stuff. So now that I'm out, I'm going to close here's my video folder. I'm going to close it off. It's still here, but now I'm going to open up my community. And so I have lots of community footage. I like to do it list, view, sort. It just does a little differently. It does it basically chronologically. So now I want to do, we did 4 different places for this. We did a golf course, which we'll see first. And I actually like it zoomed in here. But what it is, see how it's super shaky? That's because I was holding it at the car window. But what we have warp stabilizer, which I'll use to help stabilize that out, and it won't let me do that. So I have to nest it because I resized it. It won't let me stabilize it. So actually, I don't know. I don't think I resized this. Oh no, just because it's so large. But I'll layer that. You right-click, hit nest, and it makes a new sequence, and then you could stabilize this. We can get more into that later, but it's kind of complicated, but that's what it is. And then I'll do usually no motion if I'm doing something like this, just for the golf course, because it doesn't need to move around. If I do smooth motion, it shows it kind of bouncing around a little bit. Actually, I think that's okay too. So we have that. Then I will show. I have a lot of clips from here, but I don't need that many. But I like to show people in the community stuff. So that's a good spot there. Again, I want to stabilize it. Right-click, nest. I don't worry about naming them typically. Warp stabilizer. And I'll do no motion on this one. I'll do a driving range. see, I'm just looking for when he takes a swing. Again, I'm going to stabilize this. Nest, effects, warp stabilizer. I have it listed in my favorites. Some people do. You can find it by just searching in here, but I have it listed in my favorites. So again, when there's movement in front of me, I like to mark it as no movement or no motion, so that way it doesn't look, the camera's not moving at all. If I'm taking a picture of something or video of something still like this, I'll allow it to have a little bit of motion. So there's that. And now I'm just looking. Let's see if I missed anything else important. Got lots of the course here, but I think we're good. Next, I have the high school. Just do a couple here. I like when there's some motion, so you'll see that there's someone walking here. I like that. I'm going to have to nest it. And when you do this, it's really important that you just find the clip that you want before you stabilize it. Because if you stabilize the whole thing, it takes forever. So I highly recommend you just find the small spot you want and work it that way. So we did San Marcos High School. We also did a middle school. And I'm just going to keep doing nest, warp stabilizer. Here I did a little pan, so we'll do that. And I think this was fairly stable. Still could use help. Sometimes when it's always good to look back as you stabilize it too, because sometimes it'll look really funny. It'll get wobbly. This might be one of them. Let's see. It kind of does some weird stuff there, but I think we're alright. And I have another one of the elementary school. Where is it? High school, elementary school. Here we go. Oh. I mean the middle school. Cut that out, cut that out. Nest. Warp stabilize. And again, you can name all these if you want. If you're going to go back to them very often, it's important, but it'll help. But I typically don't, just because I'm trying for time. So now we went to Doubletree Park. Again, because this is just a still object, I'll allow it some motion when I stabilize it. Nest. Effect controls, warp stabilizer. And again, so there I didn't get a lot of people. I try not to really get people that are noticeable. I try not to get faces like that. You know, a guy and his dog, that's pretty cool. I have some people over here, and I'm going to stabilize this in a second, but I just wanted to kind of cut some stuff here. And then I did some of the view. I don't like that one. I did some other shots. There we go. And so the view across, really pretty. View. Let's see if I can nest these three together. Didn't want to do that. I want to nest them individually. Because I'm doing the warp stabilizer, if I do it together, it tries to stabilize all three individually, and that gets really confusing. But what I can do is I can do this, double click, and it's going to stabilize all of them. So there's that. Then what I will do is I will go back to the drone shot and I'll end it out. So let's watch this one, see how smooth it is. And this will be where he says, you know, if you want more information, give me a call. Just submit an offer, blah, blah, blah. That looks nice and smooth. I like that. So we're going to put it here to end it. Sometimes it'll do this. It'll, as you try and do it and you do other things, it'll say, oh, no, you can't do all that. You have to click Analyze again. So it's always important to look through them, because I've exported them before where it has that blue bar, and yes, it will show on your exported video that needs to be analyzed. So, got that. So that's the gist of it. I'm going to go through now and color correct it. I'll put a link below to where the video is finally up. Oh, another important part, audio, music. I go to Audio Blocks, and it's $100 a year. You can find all sorts of music. This one's a little over 3 minutes. Sometimes you'll have to do one song. I usually do one song and I double it up. But I go through here. I usually choose the longer ones. And I've used a lot of these already, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit and find one. Alright, I like that. Now I still have to film the intro and put it in, but when I do, I'll be able to finish this video up. Now you see all these sequences here in this nested sequence. They're all titled nested sequences. I'll pull these into sequences just to clean it up a little bit. And then I'll place this in, and again I will I'll tweak the volume once I get everything in, but I like at loudest usually -3, and I'll copy and paste this so I can have enough audio for the whole video, and that'll be kind of the gist of it. So as I go through color correcting, I'll just show you a couple of these real quick. Like I said, I use Lumetri color. I have it in a section here, messing with the temperature and tint. This is really familiar to me as a photographer, so I like this setup. So I'll just pull the shadows up. It was kind of hard. It was really hard because it was backlit, so I'm not getting much of the blue sky. But I'll bring the saturation up. Blacks down sometimes a little bit. We'll see. Here I want to make it brighter, especially with the Osmo and the drone. I like to add a lot more saturation, usually brighten it up, bring the blacks down a little bit. That really helps it liven it up. So as I'm doing this, usually I'll mute it because I don't want to hear it skipping through the song. Okay, there's that. So it's really dark here. This will blow out, I don't mind. There. Looks like the Osmo just... It can be set as manual exposure, but I usually don't, especially walking through rooms, because they vary so much. So I usually takes about 5 minutes to do the whole room or the whole place, and so I don't typically like to spend too much time with it. So see how it goes from the same way a lot of times here. So here it's going to go left to right. All right. double ovens. Then it goes right to left. I'm good with that. Here it goes right to left again. And I think it does it again, right to left again. I don't like all that. So I will right click, sometimes you have to zoom in, right click, speed duration, reverse speed. So that's going to go, so now from right to left to right, to right to left again. That was a bit long, but we'll fix that. Bring up the saturation a little bit. Exposure, good. So I'm going to power through these real quick. Remember this one we had some gnarly colors. Here I actually brought the saturation down so to match it better. When it gets brighter with the Osmo, it kind of flattens the whole image. So again, I like to use it sparingly. And what I'll do is I'll add transitions in here too. Oops. I love, the only transition I really use that's preset is a cross dissolve. And so I'll use that sometimes. I don't want to get too fancy with the transitions. Oops. Bedroom, that looks good. That bedroom looks a little dark. Good. Here we'll lighten it up. We already did some color correcting there. It's a bit too green. That looks too pink now. There we go. Especially when we do outdoor stuff, I like to really boost the saturation up. Bring down the blacks. Got the view. Okay, so now we'll watch through the community real quick. And it just looks a little blurry because it's at half playback resolution. And it does that because it had to render for the warp stabilizer. So again, you pause it, sharpens right up. So here, I want a little, I actually don't like the warp stabilizer. Well, it actually has smooth motion, it's just not moving at all. And see, so that looks weird to me. What I'll do sometimes is I'll bring the smoothness down, just so it gets all the main stuff out, but it doesn't get. Oh, that's much better. Before it gave it kind of a pancaking effect, where it kind of squished the building together. I don't like it. So that's good. Guy with his dog. Some people looking at the view. I haven't been color correcting at all. Bring saturation up. Bring the blues down. Again, I like to saturate this stuff fairly heavily. Outdoor stuff saturates well. People don't want to see a flat outside type thing anyway. So saturate this pretty heavily. I was watching to make sure none of my stabilizers go goofy. So I'll probably do a dissolve right there. This seems really fast. So what I'll do is I will go in here, speed duration 50%. So now the whole thing is slow-mo. Or it's half speed. Again, and it's not going to be choppy because it's at 30 frames a second. And I filmed at 60 frames a second, so it's alright. So here I'm not getting the full zoom across, but I think it'll pan a lot better. Bring that saturation way up, bring the blacks down a little bit. A little more blue. Yeah, that's a much better pan. And then that'll be it. So from here I'll put the intro in, I'll put my stuff folder, I'll put the outro, put the lower third, or the logo. This one's really important, and I have another video that I'll be putting up on this. But having this, I have it set to where it's at 1080p. I should probably just make one for 720. But the fact that it's at 66.7, it needs to be there. Because that way, if I want to take part of this video and make it to something else, and if I move it, it'll just get, just trust me, 66.7 on there. I'll explain it better later, I guess. But that's kind of the video. So I'm going to stop it now. If you have questions about specific things, hit me up. I know I went through a lot really quick, but that's basically how I edit through videos. It took me 40 minutes as I'm talking through it, and I know it wasn't a step-by-step for everything, but hopefully that'll give a decent overview. All right. Thank you very much. I don't know.